It's Chelsa Messenger with Picks and Parlays. We're talking college football. Notre Dame, Boston College. It's Masters Week, which means we have a nice little promo for you guys. Use the code MASTERS for 20% off the entire site at picksandparlays.net. Notre Dame, of course, 7-0, coming off that huge win over Clemson. And then you've got Boston College entering 5-3, the team that gave Clemson a bit of trouble. Clemson did do away with Boston College, but still, we've got Notre Dame here, minus 13.5. The total is 48.5. We've got Scott Rickenbach joining us to talk this one. Scott, initial thoughts on Notre Dame and Boston College?
Well, first thing is, of course, this would be a classic flat spot for Notre Dame. I mean, that was a huge win and an overtime win. And now they go to Chestnut Hill, of course.
Chestnut Hill.
Yes, and that is a tough place to play traditionally. And BC tends to bring a little stronger defense, especially when they're at home. And I think in this matchup, we're going to see some pretty good defense in this game. I like the fact that Notre Dame, you got to be careful looking at how many points they allowed against Clemson because, of course, Clemson, one of the best teams, if it was the best team in the country, right, coming into that game. So, and traditionally, annually, one of the best teams in the nation. So kind of put an asterisk by that one and note that Notre Dame came into that game only allowing 10.3 points per game this season. Boston College, by the way, their defense allowing 24.8 points per game on the season. And what I'm getting at here is because I really think the Fighting Irish, again, this is a traditional flat spot. I mean, when you come off of a huge win like that, then you go on the road and you're facing a team that's pretty tough to play when they're at home against this year with the result that we don't have fans in the stands in the way that we normally would. But at the same time, it's a pretty decent trip out to Boston and a tough place to play. And in this particular matchup, I think it's going to be tight and low scoring. Now, here's the key reason about the side why I haven't made a firm decision just yet is because when I say tight, that could mean Notre Dame's up 7 late, and then in the fourth quarter, they push to that 14. And then if you're sitting there with 13.5 on Boston College, then you're not looking so good. But where I think we've got some value here is with the total. I know it's a bit of a low total, but I really think if you look at it from this standpoint, a flat spot for Notre Dame, Boston College only giving up about 24 points a game on the season, and they're at home here, and the line's about a 14, that would put this final, potentially the final, at a score of 24-10. And that falls well below this number. I do think BC is going to struggle to score. Even though it's a flat spot for Notre Dame, their defense is so good. Last year, Boston College only managed 7 points in the game. So I think they're going to struggle again to score here. But their defense, they're going to bring it against Notre Dame, no doubt. So
yeah, in the last 10 of these meetings, the under has actually been hot with 8 games to the under. I know with college, every year it's different. You've got different players. But as you mentioned, Notre Dame does have that really solid defense. That's going to do it for ACC football talk here on Picks and Parlays. As always, great stuff from Scott Rickenbach. Scott, thanks for joining us.